Welcome to this model. Today we are going to discuss about user agent and sending mails and receiving mails. The first component of the electronic mail system is a user agent, which provides a service to the user to make the process of sending and receiving a message easier. And there are two types of user agents called command-driven and GUI based. Command-driven user agent belongs to the early days of electronic mail. They are still present as the underlying user agent. A command-driven user agent normally accepts one character command from the keyboard and perform a task. For example, a user can type the character R at the command prompt to reply to the sender of the message, or type the character or capital R to reply to the sender on all recipients. Some examples of command-driven user agents are Mail, Pine, and Yellow. Modern user agents are GUI based, that is graphical user interface. They contain GUI components that allow the user to interact with the software by using both keyboard and mouse. And they have graphical components such as icons, menu bars, and windows that make the services easy to access. Some examples of GUI based user agents are Adora and Outlook. To send mail the user through the UA, the user creates a mail that looks very similar to postal mail. It has an envelope and a message that you can see in this diagram. The envelope usually contains sender and receiver addresses, and the message contains the header and the body. The header of the message defines the sender, receiver, and subject of the message and some other information such as encoding type. The body of the message contains the actual information to be read by the recipient. The user agent is triggered by the user or a timer. If a user has mail, the UA informs the user with a notice. If the user is ready to read the mail, a list is displayed in which each line contains a summary of information about a particular message in the mailbox. The summary usually includes the sender mail address, subject, time, and the time the mail was sent or received. And the user can select any of the messages and display its contents on the screen. To deliver mail, a mail handling system must use an addressing system with a unique address. In the internet, the address consists of two parts, a local part and a domain name separated by an @ symbol. The local part defines the name of the special files called the user mailbox, where all the mail received for a user is stored for retrieval by the message access agent. The second part of the address is the domain name. An organization usually selects one or more hosts to receive and send email. The hosts are sometimes called the mail servers or exchangers. The domain name assigned to each mail exchanger either comes from the DNS database or its logical name. For example, the name of the organization. And electronic mail allows one name and alias to represent several different email addresses. This is called a mailing list. Every time a message is to be sent, the system checks the recipient name against the alias database. If there is a mailing list for the defined alias, separate messages, one for each entry in the list, must be prepared and handled to the MTA. If there is no mailing list for the alias, the name itself is the receiving address and a single message is delivered to the mail transfer entity. Electronic mail has a simple structure. Its simplicity, however, comes at a price. It can send message only in NVT 7-bit ASCII format. In other words, it has some limitations. For example, it cannot be used for languages that are not supported by 7-bit ASCII characters such as French, German, Hebrew, Russian, and Chinese and Japanese. Also, it cannot be used to send binary files or video or audio data. Multipurpose Internet Mail Extensions (MIME) is a supplementary protocol that allows non-ASCII data to be sent through email. MIME transfers non-ASCII data at the sender side to NVT ASCII data and delivers them to the client MTA to be sent through the internet. The message at the receiving side is transformed back to the original data. We can think of MIME as a set of software functions that transforms the non-ASCII data to ASCII data or vice versa. So MIME defines 5 headers that can be added to the original email header section to define the transformation parameters. MIME version, content type, content transfer encoding, content ID, and content description. Now let's see the MIME header. So the MIME header defines the version of MIME used. The current version is 1.1, so MIME version 1.1 can be used here. And the content type is the header is defines the type of data used in the body of the message, and the content type and the content subtype are separated by a slash. Depending upon the subtype, the header may contain other parameters also. So we have to follow the syntax called content type, colon, type, slash, subtype, and semicolon parameters. And MIME allows 7 different types of data. Let's see one by one. One is text, which is it may be a plain or unformatted or HTML format. Second type is multipart, which contains 4 categories called mixed, parallel, digest, and alternative. Mixed means body contains ordered parts of different data types, and parallel means same as above but no order, and digest is similar to mixed subtypes but the default is message, and alternative is parts are different versions of the same message. And there are 3 categories of messages called RFC 822, partial and external body. When RFC 822 is body is an encapsulated message, partial body is a fragment of bigger message, external body is a body is a reference to another message. Images are JPEG or GIF, image in JPEG format or image in GIF format. Video must be in MPEG. MPEG means video is in the MPEG format. Audio is basic, which is single channel encoding of voice at 8 kHz, and applications are PostScript and Octet Stream, the Adobe PostScript and general binary data. The content transfer encoding header defines the method used to encode the messages into zeros and ones for transport. And the header, content ID header uniquely identifies the whole message in a multiple message environment. There are 5 types of content transfer encoding called 7-bit, which describes the NVDA ASCII characters and short lines, 8-bit non-ASCII characters and short lines, binary non-ASCII characters with unlimited length lines, base 64 6-bit blocks of data encoded into 8-bit ASCII characters, and coded printable non-ASCII characters encoded as an equal signs followed by an ASCII code. Now let's see about the SMTP, that is message transfer agent. The actual mail transfer is done through message transfer agent. To send mail, a system must have client MA, and to receive mail, a system must have a server MTA. The formal protocol that defines the MTA client and server in the internet is called the simple mail transfer protocol. So as we said before, 2 pairs of MTA client server programs are used in the most common situation, that is in the 4th scenario, which was seen in the last module. And now this diagram shows the range of SMTP protocol in this scenario, that is the 4th scenario. SMTP is used 2 times between the sender and the receiver, sender's mail server, and between the 2 mail servers. And another protocol is needed between the mail server and receiver also. So SMTP simply defines how commands and responses must be sent back and forth. Each network is free to use a software package for implementation. Now let's see the mechanism of mail transfer by SMTP in the remainder. SMTP uses commands and responses to transfer messages between MTA client and MTA server. Right. And each command or reply is terminated by 2 character, that is carriage written on line feed, end of line token. Commands are sent from the client to the server. The format of the command will be like keyword and arguments. It consists of a keyword followed by 0 or more arguments, and SMTP defines 14 commands. The first 5 are mandatory. Every implementation must support these 5 commands. The next 3 are often used and highly recommended, and the last 6 are seldom used. So these are the tables of commands which are used. Hello means sender host name, a mail from sender of the message, RCPT2 intended recipient of the message, data is body of the mail, and quit or reset, and VROFI, the name of the recipient to be verified, no operation turn, XPN means mailing list to be expanded, and help means command name, send from is the intended recipient of the message, and SMOL from intended recipient of the message, and SMAL from intended recipient of the message. And the responses are sent from the server to the client. A response is a 3-digit code that may be followed by an additional textual information. So this table shows the different responses. 211 is the system status or help reply. 214 is help message. 220 is service ready. And 221 is service closing terminal transmission channel. And 250 is request command completed. And 251 is user not local. The message will be forwarded. 354 is start mail input. 421 is service not available. 450 is mailbox not available. 451 is command aborted, that is local error, and 452 is command aborted and insufficient storage. And permanent and negative completion reply are 500 are syntax error or unrecognized command, and 501 is syntax error in parameters or arguments. 502 is command not implemented. 503 is bad sequence of commands. And 504 is command temporarily not implemented. 550 is command is not executed, mailbox unavailable. 551 is user not local, and 552 requested action aborted, exceeded storage location. 553 is requested action not taken, mailbox name not allowed, and 554 is transaction failed. Thank you.